Welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite. I'm Tim, your host. Joining me as always are Josh the Tosh, internet famous, Mason.
Hello.
And Jennifer VanAutreve.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, guys. How is everyone this lovely day?
Wonderful.
Nice out. It's not hot. It hasn't been hot for a couple days.
It's a windy 69 degrees. In the shade, it's a little chilly. In the sun, it's beautiful. We are in Nerds Unite Studios, still on Wasp Watch. This is our last episode in spring, even though summer already happened a few days ago, technically.
Summer, yeah. On my birthday.
This is the episode right before we launch the Summer of Comics. Look out, because we are blowing through some comics. Starting next episode, we're going to do Anakin and Obi-Wan, the miniseries. We did an episode on the one episode, but we're going to do the entire miniseries, all 5 eps, or all 5 issues in one ep. Today, we're going to be talking about Star Wars 0 Hour, which is
Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
0 Hour.
Oh, okay, yes, that. Which is the last episode of Season 3 of Star Wars Rebels, which is what I was going to say until you interrupted me.
Last 2 episodes,
It's a
part
megasode.
1 and part 2.
Yes, it is a megasode, and this will be a megasode, I suspect, because we have a billion emails to get through, and Jennifer wrote literally 6 pages of notes.
She
for
needs a
the
new
synopsis.
notebook. She was running out of pages in this current notebook.
Well, I just started on a random page, and this notebook is kind of like anybody uses it. So there's random algebra
That's not
scratchings
algebra, is
in
it?
here from Nolan.
That just looks like fraction math.
No, they're just not good.
And-
They're bad at algebra.
Nolan's really good. He's in honors. I don't know. It looks like algebra. to
That
me.
is algebra.
This is from his algebra class, and then there's some random notes from
Let's
Nora
explore.
about Ohio, and then something.
Okay.
There's stuff.
All right.
My dad helped me with my database management
There you
class.
go.
We were doing SQL.
Oh, yeah. I have to put together a playlist for your dad's retirement party. He's worked at Caterpillar for 43.
Over 40 years, yeah. Because
Yeah.
when it was 40, they had a little party for him, and I went in, and
Yeah.
I went to.
Chad
We-
worked in the same building, and Chad didn't even come.
Yeah.
Chad's lame.
Yeah, he is.
I
late.
can't believe that. Chad.
40, can you imagine? 40, I think it's 43 years of the
Yeah.
same job.
Yeah. It's not the same
Well,
job.
yeah, he's had different jobs.
Working at
but
the same place.
That's
same
still
company.
That's
It's not-
still something.
It's
Yeah.
a lot.
What do you mean?
Where's
43 years.
Where's
is
he
a
going to
lot.
work in this area that pays as well?
Nowhere.
Exactly. So it's like
But he didn't get fired all those years.
that's
or laid
That
off.
is not remarkable.
Why not? People
it-
get fired from Tim's company all the time.
Well, that's because that's a company that operates in a somewhat normal fashion. Where your father works is not.
Well, a lot of people have gotten laid off or their jobs eliminated there.
So that
Caterpillar
could
isn't
happen.
safe. Yeah.
But you can't get fired for bad performance. It's next to impossible. You have to actively try.
That seems.
I
Seems
feel
like a bad
pretty
deal.
safe at OSF too. I feel
Yeah.
like it's extremely hard. I've had to fight really hard to get people fired,
Yeah.
and it's only worked 2 or 3
Because it's not
times.
worth the legal trouble if you did something wrong.
It's very hard. The HR people are very, very scared of terminating people.
Right.
Anyways,
Anyway, we're talking about Star Wars Rebels, not our random notebook.
They
facts.
terminate lots of people in 0 Hour.
They do. Lots of people are terminated. Jennifer, I'm going to let Mason do the synopsis on this one.
oh, shut up.
So,
I literally I've watched these 2 episodes twice, and then the second time I took extensive notes so that I could do a good synopsis, since this is
A long synopsis.
all right. Well,
everything we've been building towards, and we've been stuck in this rubble block for
Eternity.
eons, and now we're finally going to be done. So I wanted to actually get all the details in it.
Season 4 starts in a couple months.
we can't do season 4 like we did season 3.
What about our idea to watch an episode as soon as it comes out and then podcast about it?
I think that is more of a reality now at this very moment than it was before, because we've done a better job of getting the episodes out all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still going to be rough.
Yeah. Especially with a child.
Yeah.
Well, when does it come out?
It starts like in August, but then it goes until March or May.
August to May. Oh.
Yeah, and
Because they do
there'll
like
be a break.
Yeah, there'll be a break in the winter.
And that's when we would catch up on comics or movies.
Or give birth to children.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. We'll discuss that off the air. I'm going to go take a nap and paint the porch.
While I do my synopsis.
Correct.
You might want to listen. You might learn something. You might not have paid attention as much. Okay. So, the first, they all run together, so there's not going to be, they're basically the same
There's
episode.
2 episodes.
There's 2 episodes, but they're the same. Okay, so at the beginning, Thrawn is having a secret meeting with some of the Imperial leaders, Commander Constantine and Price, and then Tarkin remotes in as a holocron.
Hologram, not a hologram.
Oh yeah, hologram, whatever. And Callus knows they're gonna have this little meeting, and he uses this tiny little robot that looks like a Roomba vacuum, and he has a little controller, and he controls it. It goes into these air ducts and goes up to a spot where it can listen, outside of.
It's a mouse droid.
It is a mouse droid, but she called it a Roomba.
It looks like a little Roomba. It can listen to their conversation from Thrawn's office, so Callus can hear everything they're saying. So Thrawn tells the leaders that multiple rebel cells are planning to attack the TIE factory on Lothal, and he calls this Lothal factory their most important base, the Imperial base. Tarkin tells him to capture the rebel leaders alive, but Thrawn really wants them dead. But Tarkin wants to make an example of them. So they call Tarkin General. Is he not a Moff yet? They just call him General Tarkin.
I think he was a Moff by now.
They never call him Moff.
Yeah, I thought he was too, because the Tarkin novels already happened.
But he was just, at the end of that, he was a Grand Moff.
He was a Moff.
They
before
call
that.
him, I know they call him General. They call him General Tarkin. Anyway, so Callus can hear this all going down. Back on the rebel base, everyone's working together to get ready for this attack. Ezra and Kanan kind of have a touching conversation. Ezra's talking about how Hera and everybody really pulled everything off to get this attack going and to pull all the rebels together. Kanan wants to give Ezra a lot of credit, but Ezra says he would be a nobody if it wasn't for them. And Kanan says that he's worried that he doesn't have anything left. Switching pages. Kanan's worried that he doesn't have anything left to teach Ezra because his own Jedi training was so short. But Ezra says that it's not about learning about the Force because Kanan's just taught him how to be a better person in general. It's really sweet.
Very touching.
And then Hera's like, okay, enough time for talking. We need to get ready here.
Sounds like you.
She's like, talking time's over. So all the different rebel cells are arriving at the base, and they're just in planning mode. Back on Lothal, Callus tries to send a warning message about Thrawn and what he heard about them knowing about their attack, but Thrawn intercepts it and catches Callus. And he calls Callus Fulcrum, so, it's all out in the open. Callus knows that Thrawn knows everything. They start to fight, and it's pretty cool. They're fist fighting. And this is one of the parts I thought was funniest. Callus tells Thrawn that he talks too much. I thought that's funny because Thrawn is just constantly, it's just an inner monologue, but it's not inner. He says every single thing constantly that's going on in his head.
I don't think that's true. I think
he's constantly evaluating what everyone else is doing and everybody else's motives for everything.
Yes,
and
but
he has to speak it.
He's explaining himself, but all those things have already happened internally. He's not giving you all of his thoughts.
Well, okay. It would appear that he's speaking everything he's thinking,
No.
because he never stops talking.
No, he's just that fast of a thinker. He's already thought
I
10
understand
moves
he's
ahead.
smart and he's not really telling you everything, but the point is he never shuts up. And Callus is like, you talk too much. And then he like drop kicks him. They keep fighting. Thrawn wins. So Thrawn has Callus captured. This is another good line. Thrawn tells Callus that he has the heart of a rebel. And Callus says he'll take that as a compliment.
Ooh,
Yeah,
zinger.
that was a good one. So Thrawn has him captured. He takes him to his office, and he shows Callus that he's figured out where the rebel base is, because he's so smart. So Callus is stuck. He's captured. He can't help the rebels. So back on the rebel base, they do get part of Callus's message. All they hear is Thrawn knows. So immediately they all, like Hera gives orders, everybody gives orders to evacuate the base. But the Imperial ships are already like immediately arriving. There's some people, not just men.
There's some men people.
There's men and others on the planet's surface, so they can't all evacuate. They're Hera and Commander Soto, and I'm not sure who else. They're kind of standing around that little circle planning table that everybody always shows in Star Wars. And Thrawn pops in as a hologram and talks to them and tells them he's going to defeat them. He basically says he's not really interested in people surrendering, and he wants to utterly defeat them. So he leaves. Hera's plan is to create an opening in the Imperial blockade, because there's just tons of Imperial ships blocking them, so they can't escape the planet. They have blocked the communication so that rebels can't call for help. But Hera thinks that Thrawn thinks that the entire rebel fleet is there at the base, but he is wrong if that's what he thinks. So Hera's idea is for them to just create an opening in this blockade so that they can send one ship out to get help and call for reinforcements. So she wants Kanan and Ezra to go, because she thinks they have the best chance of getting out and getting help. Kanan doesn't really want to leave her, but she insists. But then Kanan says, wait a minute, I'm not going anyway. I need to go talk to my friend on the planet. So I think it's weird that Kanan and Ezra have never even mentioned this Bendu creature to anyone. Like, nobody even knows what he's talking about. He's like, I need to go speak to somebody on the planet. And she's like, what? So anyway, Kanan leaves to go try to warn the Bendu and try to get the Bendu to help them. So Ezra and Chopper are the ones that are designated to break through this opening when they create it and get out to get reinforcements. So they start fighting. This is the part that's always like really fuzzy to me. Phoenix and Green Squadron are in the air.
Yeah.
They start shooting.
Yeah.
Some kind of weapons.
They have A-wings, they have Y-wings.
Yeah, all kinds of wings are out there in the sky. So Kanan gets to the Bendu. The Bendu is extremely angry that Kanan has brought a war to his peaceful planet. He says...
Sorry.
Holy cow.
Sorry.
The Bendu says he's the one in the middle. Kanan tells him they can't sit by and watch innocent people die, and that some things are worth dying and fighting for. The fighting is not going very well. Ezra can't get through. Rebel ships are getting blown up everywhere. Commander Soto can see this happening, and he formulates a plan. He orders everybody off of his ship and to go to... he tells them to go to Adelon. Is Adelon where they're based?
Planet.
That's where the Bendu is. Okay, so he tells everybody to get down to the planet. So only 2 of his guys stay on board with him. Soto tells Ezra, go to this spot and get ready to jump into hyperspace. So Commander Constantine.
Admiral.
admiral, whatever, whoever Constantine is, he's in charge of one of these big Imperial ships. He sees Soto's crew abandoning ship. He wants to move in and strike against Soto's
he wants
ship
to finish blowing it up.
because he thinks they're weaker now, and he wants to move in, and he's totally going against Thrawn's orders.
He wants the glory.
Okay, page change, sorry.
Find the page.
I know, they're all
page.
out of order. Okay. So, Thrawn sees Constantine kind of moving out of his position, and Thrawn orders him to go back, but he does not listen because he just wants to sink Soto's ship. So he starts attacking Soto, and Soto, when he gets really close to Constantine's ship, they just turn towards him, turn towards the Empire ship and just ram him. And so it's a complete suicide mission. Soto just knew there was no way they were gonna get a break in that blockade if he didn't do this. So his ship rams into Constantine's, and both ships just completely explode. Is Constantine's ship a Star Destroyer?
I thought he was flying the interdictor cruiser.
Yeah, it is an interdictor, but I didn't know what an interdictor was.
That's the thing. It prevents people from jumping into hyperspace.
It creates a gravity well that basically sucks them in and doesn't allow them to leave.
So there's 2 interdictors in the sky.
Right.
And Soto has just taken out one of them.
Right.
Soto and the 2 guys with him are dead, and everybody on Constantine's ship is dead. So now there's an opening because
The interdictor
the interdictor's gone. So Ezra is able to jump through. So Thrawn is really mad. Thrawn orders all the other ships to start attacking and force the rebels down to the surface of the planet. So Kanan is still back on the planet arguing with the Bendu. Bendu is getting really mad after Kanan calls him a coward. Bendu says maybe it's the will of the Force that all of the Jedi perish, and the Bendu serves the will of the Force. So that doesn't sound very good for Kanan. So Bendu disappears into the clouds and into lightning.
He turns into a giant storm.
Yeah. Ezra has broken through, and he contacts Mon Mothma. She refuses to help. She says she doesn't want to play into Thrawn's hands and jeopardize the rest of the rebellion. So Ezra decides to go to Sabine, and maybe she can help. The rebels are working down on the surface. The rebels are working on getting Sabine's shield up that she created to protect their base. So they're trying to get this shield up to protect them. The Empire starts shooting the surface of the planet from up in the sky. Kanan, so by then they do have the shield up, so they're safe until the shield breaks. But Kanan is riding his motorcycle away from the Bendu, so he's not safe. He's on his way back. Hera calls Kanan love. Yeah. And I just say that because they're completely in love, and somebody argued that they weren't a couple, but you.
No.
Tim said,
I said that they are not in a physical relationship because they know they can't be. Like, if it wasn't the rebellion, they would be, but they're actively engaged in the rebellion.
Okay, whatever. So Ezra and Chopper, in the meantime, they reach Mandalore to try to convince Sabine to help them. Thrawn puts Commander Price in charge of the fleet while he goes down to the surface to attack. While everything is going on with the Empire, Kallus is like right there. He's like shackled in their little command center. And so he hears everything that's going on, and he's just like critiquing everything they're doing and trying to like just mess with them. The rebels know that there's going to be a ground attack coming, so they make a plan to attempt to blow down or slow down the ground forces. I couldn't read my own writing. So they're looking at the planet like a map. They're like, where can we go to block them? So Zeb and Rex go down to do that. Sabine's family and Finn Rao don't really want to help the rebels, but Sabine insists. And then finally, Sabine's mother says that Sabine can go and take a few reinforcements with her. They figure out that the best thing they can do is attack the other interdictor ship. So it's really just Sabine and Finn Rao and like a handful.
Her brother comes.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just like not very many. It's like 5 to 7 people.
A very small amount of Mandalorians.
And then Chopper and Ezra, that's it. That's the only ones that go to help. So they're on their way back to help. Zeb and Rex are shooting down walkers. Walkers, there's like different kinds. They're not like zombies. They're, that would be a weird twist.
The thing is when you say walker, everyone who knows Star Wars knows what you're talking about.
You think so?
Yes.
They're AT-ATs and AT-DTs and
PTs.
Whatever.
And STs.
What are you doing?
I was trying to download Levelator.
Whatever that is.
It's one of the programs I use to process the podcast. But it
is playing.
Started an ad.
Okay.
Not an ad for anything we want.
No. Correct.
So Zeb and Rex are shooting down walkers, but they're like the really small kind. So then Thrawn sends in bigger ones. It's like the 4-wheel walkers.
4-wheel walkers?
Yeah. Rex calls them 4-wheelers. That's what he calls them.
Did he?
Yeah, he said
right.
He's like, oh, those 4-wheelers.
It's 4-leggers.
No, he calls them wheelers. Look it up.
Look it up.
I don't know how I would look that up.
Well, okay.
What does Rex call AT-ATs in 0 hour? Let's see what it says.
And then also besides the 4-wheelers, stormtroopers start advancing towards them on foot. Kanan is finally back. He is with Zeb and Rex, and he starts helping attack these walkers. He's using his lightsaber and just cutting their legs off. So Thrawn orders like a full ground strike, and he wants them to just go after the rebel base. Ezra, Sabine, and Finn Rao arrive. Chopper jams the Empire's communications. So at this time, like, BenView is back in storm form. There's like a huge storm brewing, and it's the BenView. The rebels' shield is completely gone now. They have no protection. Hera, Zeb, Rex, Kanan, AP5, and General Dodonna are on the ground together, and they are completely surrounded by stormtroopers and Thrawn. Thrawn tells Hera that she can surrender or watch her friends die. Like she says, you know what my answer is going to be. And Kanan gets his lightsaber out like he's going to fight, and then lightning starts striking, which is the BenView. He starts talking to them. He's like this huge black cloud with eyeballs. And it's kind of funny. Thrawn says, "What Jedi devil is this?" I thought that was funny.
Devilry.
Whatever. Devilry is this. I thought that was funny. It reminded me of like an old comic, like a corny line. So that's kind of like that. BenView interrupts them. So Kanan's like, well, you heard him. Let's get out of here. And so him, Hera, Zeb, everybody that was surrounded makes it to their ship to get out. Sabine, Ezra, and the others that came with her to help land on the interdictor. They're on foot. They're like wearing spacesuits with jetpacks. So it's kind of cool looking. Ezra's in like, he has like a fishbowl thing over his head, but he's using his lightsaber.
The suit is very form-fitting.
Yeah.
So they're trying to disable the interdictor, and they're being attacked. And so they're
By TIE fighters.
TIE fighters. So they're fighting back and trying to disable the interdictor at the same time. The BenView tells everyone to leave the planet. So the Ghost crew gets on their ship. Thrawn starts attacking the BenView. He orders people to start shooting at the cloud.
The AT-ATs. Heavy artillery starts shooting into the cloud, the center of the cloud.
So Ezra and Sabine get the interdictor disabled. Commander Price is getting super frustrated, and Callus just keeps taunting her. So she finally just tells the stormtroopers to throw him out into space. So they take him off. There's 2 stormtroopers and Callus. I might have said Kanan, but I meant Callus. He overpowers them immediately, and he quickly escapes in an escape pod. As soon as he gets out of the ship, he submits his coordinates to Hera, so she comes by and scoops up his escape pod. All of the remaining rebel ships are able to escape by jumping to hyperspace, because now the other interdictor is out. Thrawn sees BenView. Thrawn and everybody that was on the ground is still on the ground. So Thrawn sees BenView, and he's kind of he's not a storm right now. He's just laying on the ground like he's injured or something. The BenView tells Thrawn that he doesn't have the power to defeat the BenView, and that the BenView also tells Thrawn that he can see Thrawn's defeat. Thrawn gets really mad and just shoots him anyway. But then the BenView just disappears into thin air and starts laughing maniacally at him. And that's it. So then Sabine is up with the rebels, but she tells them she has to leave and go back and help her mother because they're in the middle of their own civil war. Hera and Kanan need to get all the survivors back to the rebel command center, wherever that is.
It's on Yavin 4.
Okay.
That's a big spoiler or a big plot point.
Were we already supposed to know that?
They talk about
In
Massassi.
Rebels?
Well, so nobody really understood where Rebels was in reference to Rogue One or A New Hope. And the fact that they're going to Yavin 4, which was the Rebel base in Rogue One and in A New Hope, means we're really close to it.
Okay.
Because they couldn't have been hiding out on Yavin for too long.
Okay, so Hera and Kanan are getting everybody back to Yavin 4. And then Kanan and Ezra have a little talk again at the end, and Ezra feels really defeated because they lost their base, and they were planning this big attack for all this time, and they just lost everything, their supplies and everything. But Kanan says that there is a future where they're all free.
But they have to make it. So
No fate but what we make. That's from Terminator.
Oh, I was going to say, he doesn't say that
he
exactly.
definitely doesn't say
But that's it.
So I think
that was shorter than
anticipated.
the Twin Sons.
I think she rattles less when she has written prepared.
Well, yeah,
remarks.
because I remember. I'm not trying to remind
remember
myself
every
of what
single
happened.
thing that happened on
And
the
I don't
screen.
have to backtrack and go, oh yeah, and
So
then
the
this.
biggest things that you missed from a
Oh my god.
interesting perspective is
It was interesting to me that you didn't interrupt her very much.
I was just letting her roll. So
Because you didn't even
one of the
remember what
guys-
happened.
One of the guys was at the very beginning that shows up with the Massassi group is General Dodonna. And he's a pretty big character.
I did talk about him.
But you didn't say his name.
She said,
I said his name
when she talked to me, she said, who's that gray beard?
And
Yeah.
I didn't talk about him in the beginning, but I said all the rebel cells come together. But I said at the end, when they get surrounded, he's one of the ones that gets surrounded with Ezra.
She did say Dodonna.
I said his name.
Okay. I didn't hear it.
So,
And then did you mention that Thrawn's personal guard are death troopers? Like the ones from Rogue One?
I don't know what that means.
No, she didn't mention that.
The black stormtroopers that had the green dots. Do you remember those from Rogue One? They were like Krennic's personal guards.
No, not really.
You don't remember the black stormtroopers from Rogue One?
I don't think so.
Death Trooper.
I think I did notice that there were some black ones, but I didn't even think about it.
These ones?
I have.
Oh. Well, there was a lot of them.
No, there was only 4
Oh.
in the cartoon.
No,
Ron
I
had
mean
4
on,
Death Troopers.
on Rogue One. It seemed like there's a lot of them.
There was like 8. But it was a direct tie-in to Rogue One.
Oh.
The fact that Thrawn had Death Troopers.
So what's their difference?
They're just
more
some elite form of stormtrooper. We don't know much more than that. Are you like trying to figure out all these characters?
I was trying to figure out your shirt. Yeah.
Which one don't you know?
It's like all these wizards with dead bunnies pulled out of hats.
It's the magic trick, the classic wizard magic trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's Merlin.
Yeah.
He pulls the rabbit out of the stone.
Is that like an actual part in the book?
No, the sword and the stone.
Why is the
He's
guy
pulling
on
a
the
rabbit
left,
out of the stone?
Why does the guy on the left have a? Oh, it's Dumbledore.
That's Dumbledore. That's a sorting hat.
Okay, I got you. And then Gandalf
Is taking the one
pulls
ring.
him out of the ring.
And this is the wizard from Ni or whatever. From what's that Monty Python movie called?
The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's he's taking it out of he's eating a dead something.
I would have never gotten that 4th one.
I used to watch that movie a lot.
I can imagine your dad likes that.
Oh my god, he's obsessed with Monty Python.
He sent me a playlist for his retirement party. I got to put that together. It is eclectic, to say the least. It has Godsmack, but it also has like...
Where is the retirement party at?
It's in East Peoria.
You remember where EP's was?
Yeah.
Well,
EP's timeout.
It's called
Yeah, there's
Mickey's
something else now.
Yeah.
It's called a new Mickey's.
Yeah. That's where we're doing it.
Okay.
You should come.
When is it?
June 30th.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have a wedding that night. It's a Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a wedding that night.
Okay.
My cousin is getting married on a Friday.
Which cousin?
You don't know him. His name's Mason.
What?
Mason Shirley.
Oh, I thought it was Mason.
No.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it's a Friday.
I was kind of considering naming my boy Van. Like Van Wilder.
Wilder?
Jenny
What?
vetoed that awful quickly. Yeah, I brought it up and you...
I don't even remember it because
You-
didn't take it seriously at all.
Well, I did. I looked up the Wikipedia page for this episode, and there's some trivia at the bottom.
Oh,
I'm going to
trivia.
read it.
Oh, wait. Ask it to us.
That's what he's going to read.
No, it's not questions. It's just telling
trivial
us.
statements.
Form it into a question.
No. June Sato and Cassius Constantine were killed off in this episode. This also brings an end to Phoenix Squadron. I didn't realize they were done. This marks the last appearance of Chopper Base, Kanan Speederbike, and Phoenix Nest.
Yeah. Well,
Michael Bell, the voice actor of Jan Dodonna, was the voice of Commander Willard in Star Wars A New Hope.
wow.
Yeah. This marks the first appearance of standardized interdictor cruisers. They are not to be confused with Imperial Interdictor seen in Season 2. I didn't know there was a difference.
The one in season 2 was like the prototype.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it wasn't as big.
Sato's defense formation... Sato's defense formation Auric-1 gets its name from the first letter of the Arabesh alphabet.
There you go.
The evacuation signal Sarah gives, K10, is the same code used in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back.
When
That's a
they
good one.
evacuate Hoth.
Thrawn wears a version of Imperial officer battle armor, first seen in series on Wilhulf Tarkin.
Wilhoof.
Why
Why don't you name your kid Wilhoof?
Because I can't even pronounce it. As of this episode, Kallus is now part of the Alliance to Restore the Republic. This is the first season finale episode in which Darth Vader and Ahsoka Tano don't appear. First out of 3.
Wow.
Wow.
This is also the first finale in which the Inquisitors don't appear.
We haven't, like, Darth Vader and the Inquisitors haven't been in this entire
after
season
two,
once.
They vanished. Well, the last Inquisitors were gone. That we know of.
This is the first time that the Bendu displays his Force abilities besides vanishing into thin air instantaneously.
He used the Force when he pulled the Sith holocron up to him and he was like levitating it. That is not a correct piece of trivia.
Kiri Hart was a producer on this episode.
Oh, wow.
Who's Kiri Hart?
She's one of the Lucasfilm Story Group people.
She is the VP of Lucasfilm and Development, lead of the Lucasfilm Story Group. She's important.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
One thing I didn't say, like in Twin Sons, you kept talking about how it looks so much more theatrical and the animation was completely
this was the
different.
same thing.
Yeah, this was the exact same look and feel.
I wonder if the season 4 is going to be the same way.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
I think they probably had to put way more effort into these last 3.
Maybe.
We'll see. I bet it'll probably be, the season premiere and then the finale again. I wonder what they're going to do next year or like with the next season.
I thought Ahsoka was coming back as a wolf or something.
I heard she is coming back.
Definitely a wolf.
They said Ahsoka was coming back.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Pablo confirmed it.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. I swear he did.
I do not believe you're correct. I believe what Pablo said is Ahsoka is not the wolf.
Oh, I thought... Well, then why did I think Ahsoka was a wolf?
Well, because there was lots of rumors. Because Dave Filoni, the creator of the Rebels, he likes to make his own art. And he drew lots of pictures about Ahsoka going and finding these magical force wolves. And they ended up getting released as like a poster or something at Celebration.
Oh.
And he kept talking about these force wolves. And
okay. So...
then there was this thing where Ahsoka like walks into this pool of the force, and then the last page, she's gone. And so people were reading that as maybe Ahsoka is gone. And maybe she turned into a wolf. Because there's definitely wolves. There's wolves in the trailer.
But one thing I don't remember very much in this season, like they kept in the past, they kept bringing up those like cat creatures and owl.
Loth rats and loth cats.
Yeah, they kept bringing those up
Convories.
like there was something important coming.
There still might be.
But they haven't done that in a long time. Like they've kind of gotten away from the whole force issues besides the BenView.
The BenView was the big, force lore part of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka's not the wolf.
That's all we know for sure.
Okay.
We probably thought we heard that at Celebration when we were standing in a line, but we misheard.
The theory...
because we couldn't see or hear anything.
The theory is that in the season 4 trailer, the wolf that they are riding on is actually Ahsoka because she goes into the underworld or whatever when she goes into that. But
he's not. But
we know for sure the wolf is not Ahsoka.
Right.
That's all we know.
Is Darth Vader coming back?
Don't know.
How awesome would it be if Vader and Thrawn were the bad guys?
I don't think it'll be Vader because they don't want to overshadow Thrawn.
So now that they have kind of separated the characters on Rebels, I find it less likely that they actually kill one of them off or kill them off, not one.
So I mean, we know Hera survives, right? She's in Rogue One.
But we don't know that this doesn't continue past Rogue One.
We have to presume that it does.
I don't presume that at all.
I presume it ends sometime quickly before Rogue One.
Maybe it leads right into Rogue One.
Potentially.
Maybe that's how they do it.
Do you think there's going to be a Cassian Andor episode next year?
Yeah, actually, probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe Saw will come back.
Well, let's hope.
Who all was in this Phoenix Squadron that is gone?
That's just what they called themselves. All the
but
people
was there anybody that was important that...
Oh, the Ghost and Commander Sato.
No. I thought Phoenix Squadron was like a certain group
it's
of
just
pilots.
A name. No, their whole group was Phoenix Squadron.
They had Phoenix and they had Green.
Green was the Y-Wings that they absorbed when they saved Mon Mothma.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just an actual squadron. Phoenix Squadron was like the name of the whole group.
Yeah, they just called themselves Phoenix Squadron.
Well, then they're not all
rising
dead.
From the ashes.
They're not saying that they're all dead. that the naming is gone because now they're joining the broader alliance.
Right. They've disbanded their little ragtag fleet to join another
They've
one.
lost their base. They've
lost a lot of people. There's not very many people left.
Okay.
So it's not they all died.
Yeah, the Empire crushed them. This battle was not a victory. The only victory is in that they did not die. That's it.
They blew up a couple interdictor cruisers.
So what? The Empire can pump out a few more.
Sure.
Nothing happened with Lothal. They didn't really hurt the Empire much. The worst thing that happened is Thrawn's ego's hurt.
Well, they took out one of their commanders too.
Yeah, but Constantine was an oaf.
Yeah.
Well, he still was obviously one of their important guys because he was in this whole
I think
season.
the Empire is very similar to big corporate America in that
They could plug anybody in.
well that it's impossible to fire somebody. Unless you're Vader and then you just kill them.
That's funny to think about. Like, the Emperor
It'd be
just can't
funny
get
if
rid
it
of the
showed
guy.
like HR reps of the Empire,
exactly.
and they're like, legally speaking, we cannot get rid of him.
That or Constantine like knows a guy. Like the patriarch.
My uncle's gonna hear about this.
Exactly. The patriarch of the Constantine family is like in with Tarkin or something.
I'd buy it.
Family politics.
What else do we need to say about this episode? It was not as good as Twin Sons.
No, I thought
It's totally different.
Yeah,
There-
it's completely different.
Yeah, there's really like three different rebels. There's the one that explores the Jedi lore. There's the one that is exploring the rebellion and like is an action-oriented show, and then there's the goofy kid show.
Right.
So
This was the middle part
right,
with a touch of the first part.
but not much at all.
Just a little flavor, a little lick.
Well, just a little pinch. I don't think I have much else to say about
You
this.
didn't say anything.
I-
This is like the grand finale, and we barely talked about it.
I think
talked
we've
about it.
done
We gave it justice.
We've done at least 12 minutes of just discussion
There was lots
after
of
your synopsis.
the interaction of Kanan and
Oh yeah,
Callus at the end was
Callus
good.
thanked them for taking him in,
Yeah, they're bros
and now
now.
they're buddies. Yeah, this is the first time Kanan and him have been in the same place since he's been Fulcrum. Ezra's been with them, but not.
Wasn't Kanan in the factory on Lothal earlier this year? I can't remember. I thought he was.
I don't know, but I don't know that they knew he was Fulcrum yet, though.
I thought that was the first time when they figured it out.
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. It
I
all
don't
blurs.
I know Ezra's been around him a couple times.
Right. Ezra and Zeb have both been around him.
And he already kind of was bros with Zeb. Zeb's the one that turned him.
Sort of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. Callus is like
Well, he's a full-on rebel.
full on. Yep.
What else is worth noting? Anything?
No.
Bendu was crazy.
Yeah, he
His
got
powers
mad.
were nuts. And yeah, he was angry. He was trying to kill
And
Kanan.
yeah, he was like, it's kind of like, you wanted me to fight, so now I'm going to fight all of you. He's like, he was just shooting down
Lightning bolts.
lightning bolts at the rebels just as much as he was at anybody else.
He told Thrawn that he saw his defeat
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
That was kind of
What did he
cool.
say? He said,
Cold tendrils wrapping around
He said,
him.
I
Like
could
many-
see your defeat like cold arms wrapping around you or something.
It wasn't arms, though. It was like...
he did say
tendrils.
arms.
Yeah, he
He
said
said
arms.
arms.
Was it?
Cold
Yeah.
arms. Yeah.
Like many cold arms wrapping around you. As if zombies come for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Or walkers. Right, honey?
yeah.
Okay. I'm ready to rate it. 9 lightsabers. There it is. It was really, really great. It pales in comparison to how much I enjoyed Twin Sons. But I'm glad it moved the story forward, and the rebels didn't win. I enjoyed that.
Like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace.
Right.
That's what it was.
Yeah. 9.25.
9
For
and a
me.
quarter.
I liked it. And like there was like a few different times when Kanan and Ezra had like their little
Moments.
Emo.
moments where they connected emotionally.
Well, Kanan tells Ezra that there's a fate where they're free.
There's a future where they're all free, but they
Right.
have to make it.
I think you guys are rating it too low.
I don't think I'm rating it low. I
think there should be a bathtub curve or a bell curve.
bathtub. What's that?
You not taking statistics?
I have.
So
many
distribution
times.
curves. You remember bathtub and bell curves?
I've never heard anybody call a bathtub curve.
Well, bathtub's the opposite of a bell curve. What do you call it?
Bell curve.
What's the opposite of a bell curve?
I have no idea. I've never heard of the
It's called a
opposite.
bathtub curve.
Oh, okay.
So a bell starts with none, goes up, goes down to none. A bathtub curve starts with a lot, goes down to none, goes back up to a lot.
Okay.
Looks like a bathtub.
Okay. So now we're making our lightsaber rating even
I'm
more
saying-
complicated
I'm saying
by
that
adding in a bathtub curve.
no, bell curve in this case. The thing is
Well, I
like
probably
Twin Suns
wouldn't
was
have
so
rated-
good
Yeah.
that it's up at the very small delineation,
The apex.
but this one isn't that much worse, and it covered a lot of ground. It
Yeah,
just wasn't Jedi ground.
Right.
I don't really think it's worse.
So I think it was like a 9.7.
On a scheme of considering the 3 different shows, if I'm rating it against its own type of show, I give it a 10. But I'm rating it against other
Now you're adding
forms.
complexity.
Oh,
We're going
jeez.
to talk about complexity.
I'm not doing that though.
It's
I'm
one
giving
of
it
the
a
best
9 on its own.
episodes so far.
I just think I could go in here and wrap off 9s that you've given, and you're like, oh, this is way better than
You know
that
what?
episode.
My pickiness has increased over time, and so I'm a little more critical. I don't want to hear you rattle off 9s. I don't want
One
to hear
thing
about
I
it.
think
I don't
I
want to be
gave a
judged.
Hondo episode a 9?
No, I did not.
you probably
No,
did.
I did not.
You probably did. I think your ratings are very dependent on your current mood.
You know what? You know what my current mood is right now?
No,
Let me tell you,
grumpy.
grumpy pants.
So
Grumpalophagus.
one thing that I just thought of that I didn't say anything about. I think that this, like, we've talked in the past a lot about Ezra and his growth and everything. I think he was really humble in this one multiple times. Like, he wanted to give praise to, like, everybody else for all their accomplishments, and he, like, downplayed his own successes. So I think that shows he's not this punky little kid who thinks he's all that anymore.
And a bag of potato chips.
Yeah, he's really...
He's not the bomb.com.
He's more skilled than he's ever been, and he's a better team player, but he's...
I think
Downgrading
Obi-Wan
that.
humbled him.
Something did. I think he's grown a lot.
Obi-Wan taught him stuff, and he wasn't even his master.
Obi-Wan was around him for like 5 minutes.
That's all it takes when you're around Obi-Wan.
You can sense his power. There
All
you
right.
go. Did you guys watch the trailer?
No.
For season 4.
Well, yeah, no.
I
don't
didn't
think
know there
did.
was a trailer.
Maybe
Why
I
don't you
did.
pause the thing and we'll watch it real fast?
All right.
All right, pausing. All right, I just pushed the record button. We just watched the season 4 trailer of Star Wars Rebels. My reaction was,
Get hyped.
Wow.
wow, that was cool. That gave me goosebumps.
That was probably the best trailer.
Yeah, it was really good.
That I've seen.
It showed like she was giving
Hera
a generic,
was-
she was monologuing.
Well, she was
Hera
speaking
was the narrator.
in the past
Yeah.
tense.
Like, it's already over. She's,
Yeah. Because we know she survives.
Yeah, we do. We do now for sure.
I mean, we know. We already knew. So what did we see?
A lot of stuff.
We saw
She
Yavin.
was talking about the end. She was like talking about each individual from their crew, like
their roles.
their role, how they came together to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves.
We saw Saw.
Yeah, we did. We
I
saw a
didn't-
little flash.
I didn't
there.
see
You
Saw.
blocked that out.
No, I didn't see him. I have to watch trailers like 6 times because I cannot tell what's going on. It's too fast. I did not see Saw at all.
We saw lots of Mandalore stuff. We saw a bunch of stuff on Lothal.
You saw the wolf. I can't tell who was on the wolf though. It was a huge wolf, like a dire wolf.
Hey, season 4 only has 15 episodes in it.
Yeah.
That will work in our favor.
Yeah, it will.
Maybe there won't be any bridges or fillers.
We saw lots more Darksaber stuff.
Oh, here's Saw. Look, he's right there.
I know, he showed me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah,
Who was on the wolf?
It looks like a lot more focus was put on Sabine and Ezra. It was Sabine and Ezra on the wolf, and they were carrying something.
It showed Callus in regular clothing, but he looks like he's gained weight.
He just
like
changed his
He
facial hair.
looks like a rebel hippie. He
Still has
he still has his mutton chops, but he had on like this big coat. Maybe he's on a cold
I think
planet.
it's not cold. Yavin's not cold, but I don't think he's put on weight. I think
he just looks different. He just looks so different when he's not in his uniform. Yeah, his hair's grown out.
He's on the hippie side now.
He's not on that Imperial regimen, whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
He's different.
We see so this is a little picture of Yoda.
When the heck? I didn't see this
on
part.
The wolf part.
I did not see this.
It's Kanan with the Force.
Show me.
Kanan is
There's a
touching
little Yoda up in the corner.
I didn't even see the wolf in Kanan.
Yeah.
I just saw the wolf running with two people on its back. So there's a little clip where Kanan is petting the wolf's nose.
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Where's the factory on Lothal, where there's a fight. Death Troopers, a thing that looks like a U-wing. Thrawn Lothal, X-wings, Y-wing.
It doesn't imply anything about Vader. It's all about Thrawn.
Yeah, I think Thrawn, like I said, he won't be overshadowed.
What else did it show?
That's it. I was trying to find the wolf for you.
It showed Hera in a pilot outfit or some kind of other outfit that she's not usually
flying
wearing.
an X-wing or a Y-wing or an A-wing. Where's the wolf?
They played the first part of the season premiere at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, after
wow.
they
And it's called Heroes of Mandalore. So that's cool.
Are you reading a synopsis of it?
No, I wasn't. Well, there is a synopsis here, but I am not reading it. I just kind of skimmed it.
Yeah.
All right, we need to get to letters here. Did we rate it already?
Wait,
Yeah, we
there's
did.
a part where Kanan and Hera are holding each other in a
loving embrace.
Like they're not friends, they're in love, they're a couple. They're caressing each other's faces.
Mm-hmm.
Russian. Where's the wolf? We're going to talk about letters.
She called Chopper.
There's the wolf.
It called Chopper a war veteran. I
He is a war
didn't
veteran.
know he was in any war.
He was in the Clone Wars. Don't you remember? And then his Y-wing crashed, and then she fixed him.
I never knew anything about that.
She wasn't talking about Kanan. When she said a war
said
veteran,
Chopper.
she was talking about Chopper.
I said
Oh.
Chopper.
Yeah, Chopper was in the Clone Wars,
I didn't know that.
and she fixed him.
I would have thought that would have been the title she called Rex or something.
Yeah, well,
She didn't even talk about Rex.
Rex isn't really part of the Ghost Crew.
What's up with your notes here? Because it looks like all you did is took out the ones we did read, and
And then I added a bunch to the end. Refresh it.
I have. They're
Anyway,
gone.
the season 4 trailer looks really good. So maybe it'll be more full
I mean,
on
they're gone.
action.
They are not there.
I refuse to believe you.
Okay,
Just go to the next.
go to the next what?
Go to the next email. That's
We
in
don't know.
Look, it
what
says
it
I
is.
edited it at 5:58 a.m.
Okay.
and it's got gobs of stuff in it.
All right. Well, it didn't sync on my iPad for some reason. Oh, current feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
I changed the
What a
name.
dummy. What a dummy. All right, here we go. This one's from Drew. He says, SW&U crew, I'm loving all the content. # Rebels block. I can't believe Through Imperial Eyes got such low ratings. It was about as close to a 10 as you can get in my book.
Well, that's the problem. Whenever we get to the end of a season, every episode is awesome. It happens every time, and then it's hard to rate
It's
them
not
higher
hard.
and higher.
You guys both gave it low ratings,
I thought it was really, really good. That was one of my favorite episodes.
but your score doesn't reflect it. That's what he's saying.
Well, it's hard.
Oh, the hijinks. I don't think Kinky Pinky said his score out loud unless I missed it. All I heard was, I've already wrote it down in the spreadsheet.
I did say it out loud.
What was it?
He did 9.73.
Yep.
What was my rating?
I'll go find out.
Kinky made it not one sentence without interrupting Jen's synopsis. Classic. My stupid DVR boned me again. So
Gave it a 9.
Yeah, so how did my rating not reflect it?
He thought it should be a 10. He said it was as close to a perfect episode as you
Okay.
can imagine.
My stupid DVR boned me again, so I need to watch Secret Cargo because somehow I missed it. Hashtag refrigerator talk. German Shepherd for scale. I ate the last banana I had. Good one. He took a photograph.
I didn't notice.
That is an impressive
That fridge looks...
side by side.
It's a side by side.
It is a gigantic.
And that's one that you said that they only have in Europe or something.
No, this is like a 48 inch. So 48 inches you can get lots of side by sides.
But I thought you said that they don't make them without
like
the ice machine.
I'm saying a 36 inch they don't make.
This looks like it has like steel grips, like laser etched into the handles.
That would be nice because they wouldn't get so smudgy. Because I have to wash our handles every day.
Your hole. This would cover your door.
Oh, it would be no problem. We would just have to expand the.
We'd have to take out our cabinet.
Yeah.
No, we would just have to take out that faux wall.
The faux wall.
And then expand it out.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
So that's a nice fridge.
It is an amazing fridge.
And I like the dog too.
After some back and forth emailing, thinking back, I was listening while walking my dog. I'm pretty sure that is right when this lady came by walking her real barky dog. It's possible I missed it.
Because
I responded.
Yeah, we told him about Josh. He did say
I agree with Mason. It was good. Jen underrated it.
He instinctively said you underrated it.
Okay.
Since you have non-decimals.
Grant V. No, he said Jen.
He said Jen underrated it.
Not me.
That's because you didn't step into the fray. Yours is lower than hers, so you have explicitly also underrated it.
Grant V. This was part of his letter that he wrote in, but we split it in two. This was to be read after 0 hour. So he says, then we have 0 hour, which was a great finale, but I still don't feel it lives up to the season 2 finale. The two biggest things in this episode for me are the Bendu and Grand Admiral Thrawn's defeat. I wonder if maybe I'm reading too much into things, but I wonder if the purpose of the Bendu in this episode is maybe to show that there isn't really a middle ground. It reminds me of the quote, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. When Kanan goes to ask for help, the Bendu continually argues his stance of neutrality until Kanan makes him a wee bit mad and, well, we see what happens.
But then I don't agree that he's still not in the middle because he's fighting both sides. He's not.
He is in the middle.
I know, he's not on.
But one side is objectively good.
Yes.
And the other is objectively bad.
Right.
But Bendu still doesn't pick a side.
Right. And Grant is saying that that's wrong.
That he needs to pick a side.
And that the character is in the show to point that out.
Right. That there isn't a middle ground. Like, it's impossible for him to remain truly neutral.
I don't know. He did a pretty good job in that episode.
If he remained truly neutral, he would have truly done nothing. But he didn't. He attacked the aggressors.
He attacked both sides.
But not before he attacked the aggressors first.
I don't think so.
When Kanan goes to ask for help, the Bendu continually argues his stance of neutrality until Kanan makes him a wee bit mad and, well, we see what happens. I just felt like the Bendu might have been some kind of social commentary. Any thoughts? We gave some of them. I think, yeah, he has to be, right? I mean, it's interesting to explore that middle ground, whereas we've had this obvious black and white all the rest of the time. Now we get to see what the middle looks like, and it looks like a big storm cloud.
When he's angry.
I really like seeing Grand Admiral Thrawn as the villain this season. I think he put a new spin on the nature of the Empire. I also think this episode showed how dangerous he really is, as his defeat came about only because of two factors. The first factor being the insubordination of officers around him, who wanted personal glory instead of imperial victory. Second factor being the few things he doesn't understand, mainly the Force. I think that's a really good analysis of that, of Grand Thrawn's defeat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about that a lot. Like, he literally would have won if Constantine hadn't disobeyed his orders. He would have won the whole thing. The rebels didn't stand a chance. I do like seeing the rebels lose and the Imperials actually win, because we're constantly barraged with like the idea that the Imperials are so tough. Like, they always win, but we never get to actually see them win, it seems.
We see them win a lot in Rebels.
Sort of win. This seems like a clear victory. Anyway, this got a bit long. I enjoy the reviews and discussions you guys have about Rebels. I know you want to get on to other topics, but I hope when season 4 rolls around, you won't gloss it over. I agree with you guys that the series has a lot of filler episodes, but I remind myself that it is mostly a kid's show. Still, at times, we get brilliant episodes like the season 2 finale, and these 3 from this season. It just seems worth watching and discussing. It is. And in case you guys don't follow him on Twitter, Dave Filoni recently posted a sketch that has some answers about Star Wars lore. I'm hopeful that Ahsoka will make a return. Thanks for the podcast, and keep them coming. Was this?
I'm hopeful that...
This was this picture. He made a picture of the wolf, the Force Owl, and Ahsoka, and it says owl, wolf, not the wolf for Ahsoka.
Because they're all clearly their own thing.
Right.
I am hoping, since we just found out, I just found out that season 4 is only like 15 episodes, that they're all going to be like how they are towards the end of a season, because
a serial season of episodes.
It's
that's how it always is with TV shows. When they don't know when the end is, they have to put in the filler episodes to tread water.
Yeah, but I mean, how many episodes were in season 3? Like 30 almost?
20.
There was over 20 though.
No, I think it was 20.
Well, whatever.
And there was probably 6
they
or
just
7
subtract
fillers.
the 5 hondos.
Yeah.
And then we don't have as much.
Hopefully it'll be a lean, mean
stuff to wade through.
Next email is from Jace Morris. He sent in a whole bunch of pictures of himself with Star Wars figures and his collection and his, not his collection.
Just stuff that was at this store.
Stuff that was at the store, right.
He was excited that he was in this store out of town.
The shirt he has on in that store is the exact shirt I wore yesterday.
G.I. Joe?
No, it's Star Wars.
G.I. Joe.
It looks like G.I. Joe. Like, that's the G.I. Joe logo other than the word G.I. Joe.
Sort of, yes. He grabbed some Star Wars Legacy comics. I loved that series. If we were covering a comic that was non-canon, I would want to do that one.
Jace looks really young.
Yeah.
He's not our one that's young, right?
Well, he looks pretty young.
But I don't think he's the one that was the youngest.
He says, "Hey nerds, was super excited to see the new episode. When I heard you were recording on Monday, all day Tuesday and Wednesday, I was checking my phone to see if the new one was out. Haha. This weekend I went to Arizona with some buddies for a fun summer trip and ended up at the mall. Turns out there's a store there that sells all kinds of Star Wars stuff. When I walked in, I almost started to cry. All kinds of toys and games and comics. There were even some Kenner 1977 toys still in the original packaging. So I got my money together and got some new stuff to add to my collection. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. Thanks so much for the fun, and may the Force be with you." I think it's cool that there was a store like that in a mall.
Yeah.
And not just like in a...
They had a black Lego Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, the store looked cool. He didn't actually say what he ended up buying, did he?
I presume just the comics. I don't know, but no, he didn't say.
Where did the black Millennium Falcon come from?
Somebody just made it. It's a mock.
He just he got black versions of all the pieces.
Not he, the person.
I know, the person that built it.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
There's lots of people that do that. Alt color. Like there's a guy who's building UCF Millennium Falcons in all of the classic Lego color schemes. Like Blacktron and Police and Space. And what was the eye one? The neon orange and blue ice planet one. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember which one that was.
So anyways, he's making UCS Millennium Falcons with all those color schemes. They look awesome.
This one's from Angry Farmer. He says, "Ol' AF checking in. Thank you for the card and stickers. Both are awesome. A few of my ramblings on various topics discussed on recent episodes. First up, I hope you were able to get the baby Minox out of SWNU HQ. It was interesting that the Jen scream sounded exactly like Leia's scream on the Falcon when the Minox showed up. I'm glad no harm came to Jen."
Me too.
She was never in the line of fire.
No,
oh,
she
yes,
wasn't.
I was. You weren't even here.
It was me.
I'm pretty sure it stayed over there.
No, it was all over the place.
No, it didn't. The furthest it got was the rooster.
Whatever. I was surrounded.
It felt like it was crawling on my skin.
I was completely surrounded.
Social media. You mentioned that the new Nerd Squad seems to be social media challenged. The issue seems that you read letters from email, but rarely comment on the social media posting. Would it be more helpful to link to these posts in email? So my comment on this is actually that I think the challenges with social media revolve around the fact that social media, I think, should be more geared toward you guys talking to each other. So like the fans interacting with each other. And it seems Twitter, I think you guys do it a lot. And we don't post a lot. That's one of the problems. We don't post a lot of stuff on Twitter. And a lot of that's because I'm just busy and I don't think...
Because you're the only person who cares about Twitter.
Right. I'm not the only person. Our fans actually talk to each other on Twitter.
I'm just saying of the three of us. He's saying the three of us.
Yeah. So the other problem is on Facebook. When someone posts something on Facebook, it doesn't really show up on the main feed. So Angry Farmer posts something on Facebook, it doesn't show up to all of the nerds unless we share it.
So Josh has been taking messages and copying them and putting them in an email form.
That's different. We're counting those Facebook messages as emails. What I'm talking about is social media posts.
He posts on our page.
He posts a news article or some cool thing. Unless we click share,
it doesn't show up on
so then everybody doesn't necessarily see it. They can find it, but you have to dig down like 3 different layers to try to get to it.
Yeah, it's harder.
And so that doesn't evolve the conversation. So the real answer is that we need someone who wants to do Facebook social media for us. So if anybody volunteers for that, let me know. I'll give you access to the page. I don't care. What's so funny?
And so, in reading tweets, I think like the message kind of would get lost.
Well, we used to do that when we didn't get 100 million emails.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to. I don't know. I just don't think that would. Some of them aren't worth.
Yeah,
explaining the context because they're just one-liners and it's...
Well, a lot of the Facebook posts that we get are also like short videos or discussion on a news article and stuff. And I think a lot of that doesn't necessarily fit on the show all the time. So it belongs on the social media where it is. It's not being presented in the way that allows the fans to comment to each other, which is what it should be for. So either we need to create a Facebook like page, like a community page or whatever, the group, where when people post, it actually shows up and they create an actual discussion. I know a lot of podcasts that do that. Or we need to allow someone else to post these social media things. So if anybody wants to volunteer for that, let me know. Continuing on my long rant, he says...
I recently shared a post.
Yeah, I recently shared a post about the deleted scenes from the movies that I had never viewed. I don't know if these were recently uncovered, but the scenes from episode 4 would have been a great addition to the various special editions. Spoiler, the portion with Luke watching the battle over Tatooine and his droid exploding were great backstory. When Luke goes to the Tashi station and talks to Biggs, this fills in the details of who this Biggs character is and why they would let a farm boy fly a multi-million credit starfighter to face the Death Star. The deleted scenes from the other 2 movies take the story in a different direction, and I can understand why they were cut.
They were included on the Blu-ray release, I think.
But not as part of the actual movie.
No, they weren't reintegrated. They were just deleted scene clips.
Yeah.
I always thought that the reason why Luke was given free reign of an X-Wing is A, because Obi-Wan said so.
Right.
Obi-Wan vouched for him, right, to Leia and everything. And then B, he saved Leia from the Death Star, so...
Leia vouched for him twice over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who else were you going to throw out there, too, right? You can't have that many pilots. It looks like most of the base had already been evacuated. There was only like 12 X-Wings that flew up against the whole Death Star, it looked like. Even after the special edition, when they added in all the X-Wings. Science Corner. Did Josh see the story about the FTL drive the scientists are working on? This is very significant. Maybe our kids could be the first interstellar travelers. Have you researched this, Josh?
There's lots of people that are researching faster than light drives, but I don't... If there's one in particular you're interested in...
It was the one that he posted on Facebook for us.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't see it. I listen when it comes up on the various things that I watch and listen to, but I don't explicitly go search it out because I just don't think it's feasible.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It does not fit into our modern understanding of physics.
What about Star Wars physics?
Well,
It fits.
obviously fits.
As for the lightsaber weight question, I thought the blade was plasma, not really light. This gives it its mass. I would assume that they weigh about 5 kilograms when active and 1 kilogram when not. The saber usually hangs from the hip. It can't be that heavy. As for using 2 hands, this is to put more force and greater control on the saber. Yeah, I agree with both those things, and I kind of thought it was plasma too.
What makes it plasma?
I don't know. I mean, that gives it its weight.
It's a crystal with energy flowing through it. So what's turning into a plasma? A plasma is the 4th phase.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe the power generated through the crystal creates a plasma beam that has a finite
we know
end.
it's not like the atmosphere because you can use a lightsaber in space where there's nothing in the vacuum of space.
Right. So it's light.
Right.
Hard light.
Right. Unless
Somehow.
it's creating mass out of nothing and then turning it into a plasma.
Yeah, that's probably it. Genealogy with the internet as the database of record. This was a comment from an email he sent in a couple of episodes ago. This is absolutely awful. The internet holds data for a very short time. There's actually an archive. What's that website called?
I don't remember.
It's like archive.org or something like that. Yeah. Try to look up something from the year 2000. Many of these details are lost unless it's a major news story. That was only 17 years ago.
So I would say web content is lost, but databases are not.
Right. So the year 2000, the GeoCities pages are
In
gone.
the year 2000.
But the rest of it's there. That's all for today. May the force be with you. 1310 signing off. I like his emails. They're very thoughtful. Jace, he sends in another email. He says, "Hey nerds, Jace here again. Just finished listening to your latest episode and even though Josh wasn't there," and then he put in a sad crying face. It was a good episode and was cool to have Nolan on there to really kind of shake things up and have some of his opinion. Josh, I think I can speak for all the listeners when I say that the show is not the same when you're not there, and you saying that everything is stupid.
I don't say everything's stupid. I say stupid things are stupid.
And I must give Tim a congrats for being the person to be on every episode. Yep.
Yay.
That's what I bring to the show.
Yeah. Has been here.
Somebody else said that every time. Tim, you're always there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we have talked about doing it without you once.
Yeah, good luck. While I was listening to this episode, at the same time I was mowing the lawn, when the first wasp came in, I had to turn off the mower and fall on the ground because I was laughing so hard. Can't wait for the next episode. May the force be with you. I think it's funny that the first wasp is the one that got you laughing. I would think that the second one would have been funnier.
The first one was out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was more unexpected, probably.
Oh, okay. The second one had me scream like a total girl. No offense to girls. Patrick Thalkin, he says, this is Icy Spidey. He says, "What's up, Nerd Squadron? Nerd 4 signing in. I was recently watching some YouTube videos about theories for Star Wars The Last Jedi, focusing mostly on Luke saying it's time for the Jedi to end. A lot of people seem to be nervous about this. I think they might be looking at it from a certain point of view and not understanding what the full implications might be. Take Kylo Ren, for example. He's a dark side user. He's a Knight of Ren, but he's not a Sith. Abrams even flat out said back in August of 2015 that Kylo is not a Sith, which means the Sith ended when Vader died. I know this is not new information, but since it seems that Jedi and Sith are two sides of the same coin, and since the Sith are no more, comma, it makes sense that the Jedi would also end. Keep in mind, this does not mean the end of light side Force users or the conclusion of the battle between light and dark. The dark side and light side of the Force are constants, while the Jedi and Sith are social constructs. Anyway, just some stuff I was thinking about while at work. Nerd 4 signing out." Aren't you supposed to be database back-ending or something, IC Spidey? How can you think while you do that? Think about anything but your SQL queries.
He's talented.
I guess.
Yeah. I've covered his basic statements in the past when we did the trailer, I believe. We talked about it
Yeah, I like his analysis of it.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. But
I don't either, but I do like the way that he broke it down and talked about how Jedi and Sith are social constructs, which are totally true. I mean, it's really just people made it that way.
Right.
This one is from Chris. He says,
sorry.
Okay. You caught me. I've been cataloging Jen's parents' house for my toothpick sculpture. I've hit a roadblock.
Well, there was a question in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was really
So
funny.
I don't put the subject line when I do this because it's too much work.
Right.
The subject line was, got blueprints?
It says, do you have any blueprints?
Right.
And then this made me laugh out loud. It was hilarious.
Okay, that lost context. When it's appropriate, you got to edit it.
It's, again, too much work.
All right, so he said, don't put real content in the body of or the subject of the message. Okay, you caught me. I've been cataloging Jen's parents' house for my toothpick sculpture. I've hit a roadblock. Does he have a pergola?
He does not have a pergola.
No, but my mom is making him build his own deck.
Yeah.
Which, to me, I can't even imagine how this is going to go.
It's going to take him, even
6
with him
years.
retired, he won't even finish it.
Oh, my God.
It will not ever be
No,
totally
it'll
done.
be done. I mean, I just can't. I mean, that's just so much
done
work.
Like how he fixed his gutters.
Because
his gutters are still not put up. The ones that he bought.
has to fix his gutters like every year. Like he has to do things like everything.
The squirrels tear him down.
Oh my gosh, something does.
He's got a ton of really tall trees, and it wreaks havoc on his gutters. Plus,
But
he has a really old house that he doesn't paint or get up
we
and
have
take
to
care
watch
of.
what we're saying because last week my dad said he finally listened to an episode.
I'm not saying anything that
So
isn't
I'm
true.
like, oh, great.
You're signing yourself up for some work.
So anyway,
he knows I can't do heights,
I can't either.
so he won't put me up there. I'll help him down low. I'll help him rebuild his porch. That'd be fun.
he has
I'll
to
help him build his
rebuild the
deck.
porch every year.
I told him
I'm not joking. It is the weirdest thing. He has to replace boards and repaint
It's because
every year.
it's because he doesn't properly seal it with the right
He
stuff.
He doesn't
He
use
needs
a-
to use actual
a
sealer
wood
stuff.
sealant. Yeah, he doesn't do that. And then there's also squirrels attacking it and eating it. So that doesn't help, I'm
No,
sure.
it does not help the situation.
Okay.
I want to help him build his deck because
You
then
should.
he can teach me how to build it.
Well, it's not just building a deck. They don't even have a door to go out.
That's easy.
So he has to build a door from their
cut a
kitchen.
hole.
Yeah, you just cut a hole.
Put a header in, put the door in.
That doesn't
Done.
seem easy to me. Anyway, the whole thing doesn't sound easy, but he's doing it. So there's
says he's doing it.
there's no pergola.
Right, the pergola is only at Van Autreve Manor. Oh, we should post
And
pictures.
your neighbor's house.
Since we have all those beautiful flowers now.
Yeah,
need to
it looks
paint
a
it
lot
again.
better.
It does need another coat.
I know he only did one coat.
I know,
and he
it's-
just did
dude,
it like 2 weeks ago.
It takes forever.
It took you like
Why didn't you just
an
buy a
hour.
spray gun?
Oh, you weren't even home, you butthole.
I'm not home
it's not real
I'm not
paint,
gone that long.
and it would make a huge mess. It's like stain.
Yeah.
It
So-
drips a lot.
Yeah, it's very drippy. I would have. It took me like 5 hours. In the very
I've
very
never been
hot
away
sun.
from this house for 5 hours.
Oh my gosh,
on a
it
weekend.
was at least
There's
5.
no way I was gone that whole time.
In all seriousness, Chris
Mm-hmm.
continues, I'm not that weird. I had just listened to all the episodes semi-recently, so it's still pretty fresh in my mind, and those stories usually make me laugh. I'm glad you noticed the face on the lady in my picture, because after I sent it, I checked it myself, and that was the one thing I noticed. I'll have to find a better one. Haha. I'm glad everyone survived the wasp attack. Listening to that had me in stitches. I thought for sure that was Jen screaming when you said it was Tim. Oh man, that made it so much funnier. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
It was on my arm. I can't even begin to describe it. The wasp was like 2 inches long.
Last time you said 3.
It was at least 3.
But it was 2, but at least 3.
On to some actual news, however. What do you guys think of the directors for the solo movie leaving the project? They're 2 for 2 so far with director changes in the standalone movies. May the force be with you. P.S. Congrats to Nolan and of course Job for making their podcast debuts. Haha.
Didn't they just say Ron Howard's going to be the director?
Yeah.
He's
So
good.
he sent this before that news came out.
Yeah.
Right. All we knew so far was that those 2 dudes were leaving the
Done. They're not
directorship.
leaving.
I've
They were
never
escorted
heard
out.
they
Oh,
were
They were
heard-
fired.
really.
But I heard they resigned.
They didn't.
Oh, they were probably forced
They're not
to.
They were
like
fired.
They're not like Caterpillar and OSF. They have no problems, no qualms. about
They probably had some
firing.
qualms.
I
But
can imagine it being very difficult to fire a director, but I bet they were fighting about the direction of the film, or they were like
Fighting with who though? Who's in charge if it's not the director?
the people that signed the checks.
the producers, the writers. So we don't work in Hollywood, but I've read multiple things about it.
Speak for yourself.
And like television is a producer's medium more than a director's medium. That's why you don't hear about like TV directors, because usually the producers are in charge of like the direction, whereas the movie is not very similar in that respect. It's more of a director's medium. And in this case, Lawrence Kasdan's the writer, and he wrote this story, and he's really close to Kathleen Kennedy. He wrote The Force Awakens, if you remember, and Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the biggest rumor is that the director and the two directors and the guy playing Han Solo, Aiden Ehrenreich or whatever, like he complained about the directors because they were making it too goofy. And then
the actor complained about the directors?
And then it got Lawrence Kasdan to agree, because apparently they constantly wanted to do ad-libbing and whatnot, and he really wanted them to focus on what he wrote. And then it just got to the point where they were being told to do something, and they're very against being told to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So they did what they wanted to do even more. And it got into this petulant relationship between the producers and the directors, and they finally just agreed that it's best to go different ways.
Right. And then you're always the guys that got fired off Han Solo.
Right.
That stinks.
I don't know, though. I've never heard anything bad about Ron Howard. He seems great.
We'll see.
Sure.
They had already finished like 2/3 of...
So he's starting from scratch, like the whole movie's starting over?
They can still use a lot of it, but...
They're going to finish what was planned, and they had already planned for reshoots anyway, so they'll come back and...
The directors usually have a lot to do with like the tone of the movie in editing. Like a lot of their work is there. So I imagine that he's going to pick up and put his spin on it inside there in the editing room on what's already been filmed. So
they're not going to reshoot stuff that don't have the tone.
Right, you're right. And they don't do that until they've decided that there's no footage with the right tone. Anyway.
So that's how Rogue One was. They had a finished print of Rogue One, and they tested it, and they decided this isn't the route we want to go. So they did all those reshoots to change. They added a few scenes, and then they changed the end.
Did they switch directors on that one?
They brought in a director called Tony Gilroy to assist on the reshoots. And everyone assumes that they basically told Gareth Edwards, you're not working on this anymore, but he played along. And so that's why it was, he was part of the marketing, and they haven't told the whole story. So they didn't
officially fire him.
Right. They just gave a assistant director credit to Gilroy, and Gareth Edwards was still the director. It's his movie.
Right.
But in reality, there's lots of rumor that he wasn't involved after a certain point. And whereas these two guys, they're not like that whatsoever. They're very against the grain.
So the guy that they brought in as the assistant director on Rogue One, was he one of the directors on Han Solo?
No.
Why do they keep bringing in brand new people if they want to stick with a certain tone?
Movies take a long time to develop, and they want to have so many. They want to have one every year. So
directors can't work every year?
They're working on the one thing they're working on for usually, 3 or 4 years.
Because they have to do prep work, and then they have to do the actual filming, and then they spend a ton of time post-production, and then they're doing all the circuit where they're promoting the movie.
So right now, Rian Johnson is still working on 8. He's been working on it for 2 years. Colin Trevorrow is working on 9.
Right. Already. Yeah, it's like a huge thing when you're a director for a film. You buy in for years.
With these giant, they're $100 million productions.
Right. So it's a big investment. You're putting someone in charge of this huge investment from the studio.
I see.
And the studio doesn't want to lose their money.
Right.
Or, especially with Star Wars, damage the brand. Because the brand is Star Wars.
Right. And they paid like $3 billion for it.
Right. Which they've already made back.
Well, I haven't made it back yet.
Come on, I guarantee they have. Okay.
So there you go. That's our Midwestern yokel insight into how Hollywood works.
Right. So I wanted to comment on Nolan and Joe being on the podcast. So I know Jen was especially worried about the professionalism that we were putting forth, because she's very concerned with people saying we are unprofessional. I wanted to take a second to comment on that. it was either that or not get an episode out. So we chose that.
It doesn't matter if it's unprofessional.
Right. It's our podcast, and if we're not a professional podcast. We're amateurs that sit in a friggin' hot half attic
with spiders
and wasps
crawling
in order
on us.
to record this podcast.
But we sound better than 80%
we
of the
do
podcast.
sound better than 80% of the podcast because we invested some dough into it.
We basically had to get
amateurs.
through Rebels block. We're not going to bring in a little kid to talk about it.
I was planning on bringing in little kids
novel.
for every episode.
Pages out there.
We're not going to do that.
All right. So this one's from Mateus.
Did somebody send you a note? Or you just have been burning on that for a while?
What do you mean?
He said that you were concerned about professionalism.
Well, she brought it up a
wasn't-
lot.
Somebody emailed in about how I was so unprofessional
I think it was
a couple of times.
yeah.
I think it was tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, me too.
The subject was Jen is unprofessional. That was the subject of the email. I think nobody at all thought anything bad about the kids being on. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I'm not that worried about it. We're not going to keep having kids on all the time. That's the point. It was just to get through Rebels block and add something. Okay. But so when Nolan was on, he told my brother about him being on. Those two are James. James and Nolan. My brother is James. Nolan's my son. Those two are really close in age, even though they're
8 years apart.
6 years.
Whatever.
5 or 6 years. They're closer to ages
years.
of brothers.
Then you and your son, they are closer than you and your son are.
They're closer in age
than you and your son are, right? That's what I just
me
said.
and my brother are.
You and James are, right?
Right. Me and James are like 13, 14 years apart.
Yeah.
My son and James are 5 years. So anyway, they're close. They're more like friends or brothers than uncle nephew. But anyway, so Nolan told James that he was on the podcast. So then all of a sudden James listens. James's one comment was, your synopsis was too long.
Yeah.
That's what his one comment about it. But then he calls Tim and he's like, when are you going to let me be on the podcast? You had Nolan on the podcast. When am I going to get on your podcast?
And then I said we don't really have guests on the podcast. Like that's not our podcast. In the next episode, we have a 4-year-old.
Yeah,
on.
And you were like, next time somebody can't make it, you're on. So we cannot miss. Nobody can miss again because otherwise we have to have James on.
Well, there's no problem with having James on. I just don't want guests on the podcast. Is really the serious.
But.
Honest answer.
Don't say if you live here because James would have no problem living here. He'd be like, okay.
I'll be right there.
He comes and lives here whenever we go out of town.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I like it. There's somebody here to take care of stuff.
We have like 15 more emails. This one's from Mateus, editor's note. This is an actual editor's note from Mason as he wrote it down. He said this is actually 3 or 4 small emails merged in twin sons. This is actually Mateus. Why Luke is just a kid and Leia is adolescent? They're the same age.
They are the same. He's saying that he perceives them as being different ages in the show.
It's because girls develop quicker than boys. Luke has spent his entire life kind of isolated on a desert planet with nobody around him besides his aunt and uncle. And Leia has grown up as royalty and it's this diplomatic lifestyle.
Right. She went to private school.
More mature.
He grew up on a farm.
She knows the ways of the world.
I think he's not saying it in that manner. He's saying, why does Luke look like an 8-year-old, whereas Leia looks like a 13-year-old?
Because girls develop faster.
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe that's part of it. But also, I think it was just the way the silhouette was done. Because they don't actually show Luke super close.
No.
They just show a little silhouette of him. Why are Ahsoka's lightsabers green in Clone Wars but white in Star Wars Rebels?
Because she has new lightsabers.
If you listen to our Ahsoka episode, we actually detail how that happened.
Her old lightsabers, she has to bury.
So that the clones
buries
think
them
that she
with
got
Rex,
killed.
right? Because she wants them to think she's dead, so she can't risk having her lightsabers around anymore. And then she gets her new set of lightsabers from an Inquisitor who comes to kill her. She rescues the crystals that he's stolen.
And tortured to his will.
And so she rescues those crystals from his red saber and creates her own because she's a mechanic. So she has a new set, and they're green.
They're white.
They're white because they're white because they're happy and they're not red anymore.
They're just white. That's what they are.
What happened to Ahsoka on Malachor?
We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea.
She went into that temple and went into some water and then turned into a wolf. Maybe.
But she's not a wolf.
She's not.
She's
a wolf.
not a wolf.
Why do pilots stay on their ships alive in space with radiation and extreme cold?
Because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, there's some kind of shielding on the ship that protects them, but we don't know what it is. It's just Star Wars. Which ship do you think is the best of Rebels and Imperials? Oh, without a doubt, the X-Wing is the best. And for the Rebels.
What's your favorite Rebel ship, Jen?
What was that one where they went to that rocky planet that almost killed them?
The B-Wing?
Like that old man.
The B-Wing.
That one was pretty cool.
The Millennium Falcon.
And Imperials, best ship?
Star Destroyer.
Yeah, Star Destroyer, no doubt.
Interdictor.
There it is. This one's, thanks for the email, Mateus. This one's from Jesse. He says, so after listening to the latest episode, I watched that scene where Obi fights Maul on Tatooine. Obi definitely changes his fighting style and Maul sees it, and you can tell he realizes that Qui-Gon used that same style, and so he changes his stance just slightly, which meant that he definitely fell right into Obi's trap. Now, when Maul tried to use the hilt of his double-bladed saber to hit Obi in the face, like how he did to Qui-Gon to stun him and eventually lead to his death, Obi-Wan was ready for it, leading to his counter, thus killing Maul. I couldn't see it at first, but then when Tosh gave it a quick play-by-play, it's definitely an awesome thing to see if you look closely enough. Good job, Josh. You just spread some knowledge to all those Star Wars fans out there.
I do that every week.
Thanks for the email. This one's from Ben. He says, good day, mates. I'm going to read this one all in an Australian accent.
But it has to be a white American trying to do an Australian accent, which you will hit perfectly.
Wait, are you saying Ben is an Australian?
He's not. He's saying it like he's Australian because I insinuated he was Australian because of his poor grammar. This is the guy that used to work with.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Who doesn't wear shoes at work.
People send us in these really subtle
Right. I was going to
jokes.
say the barefoot guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that didn't believe me initially about the Wayne's World
Wayne's World.
MTV special,
Yeah.
but Jesus defeated him
Yeah.
in the
Defeated
office in an
him.
office death match, and he surrendered. I remember now. Okay, go ahead.
Twin Sons.
Glad you're all caught up.
Loved the Twin Sons episode. The the final scene was perfect. I think a lot of the fans thought it might be anticlimactic. I was, like everyone else, ready for this epic battle, and the build up to it was leading me to believe that. Then it was over in 3 moves, and I was shocked on how fast it ended. The unexpected is always better, right? Didn't see that coming. And it was more impressive. Like 3 moves to checkmate. Furthermore, we also get the epic battle when it's 2 big characters. It was nice that it was short. I love that they used the different poses right before the battle. You explained it well. I think you said it there where the 3 poses, young Ben, old Ben, and Qui-Gon Jinn. I could have done without the desert part of it, but we got to see Tusken Raiders and then Darth Maul just so easily kills them, I assume. The scene cuts away. Last 5 minutes, 10 lightsabers. Whole episode, 8. Huh. Interesting. That sand stuff really brought down his rating.
Yeah.
0 hour. Lightsaber question. In one of the prequels, you see Anakin, or Ben Kenobi, using it to cut through a metal door and look like it was taking some time. But in this episode, Kanan slices with great ease through a leg of an AT-AT. Does this bother you? We'll stop and comment on that. You know, honestly, I didn't even think about it. I just thought, how come Luke didn't do that? But he does kind of. But I guess when he cuts underneath the AT-AT in Empire, he's just slicing the hinges, right?
No, he's cutting a hole so he can throw the thermal detonator up in it.
Right, but he doesn't do that. He does like 1 swipe or 2.
That's what he does, but it creates a hole. It's kind of lame.
Is that back when the lightsabers were supposed to weigh like 60 pounds?
Yes.
Maybe it was harder to hold it straight to get the line, and now it's lighter, so
I
it's just
think
a
it's
swipey.
just an unfortunate reality of George didn't think of it at the time, and
they made this show for kids and didn't think anybody would realize it.
it's cool.
And I was super disappointed that the moose creature, BenView, saves the day when our rebels were in an impossible situation. 8 lightsabers would have been 10 without the BenView. I also feel like BenView is the most powerful Force user to ever be on any Star Wars movie or TV, and I don't like that.
I think he's intentionally calling it Bendo.
Oh.
I don't know.
The Emperor or Yoda has to be the strongest with the Force. I don't think so. I think that's the whole point. Because he's able to be in the middle, he doesn't subscribe to light or dark. He's not limiting himself. So he can take the entire scope of the Force, thus making him the most powerful. That's my thoughts.
And he's like an immortal creature.
Right. So he's
not like a human that was born and trained to take on the Force.
I don't know that he's immortal. Like, cannot be killed.
He can't be killed by a gun.
We can't be killed by Thrawn. He said, you don't have the power to destroy me.
Right.
That means he can be destroyed.
I don't know who can then.
I don't know.
Someone that's been alive longer and has had more Force exposure.
I don't know.
I like how he broke this into topics. Star Wars Celebration. OMG, Jen's rant on this was super entertaining. Maybe her best pod. Sorry you guys spent so long in lines, but I couldn't help but to laugh at Jen's suffering.
Hey.
I feel the same way. Agent Callus. Maybe my favorite character this season. I think a lot of us knew a long time ago he would go to the Rebels. I didn't.
I like him a lot too.
He was just too darn good looking to be evil. It's a good point. Those mutton chops really add a lot of attraction to a man.
Now he grew his hair out and he's
not pale or underweight or menacing looking and blonde. Is that racist? He just doesn't have that German Nazi feel that we are used to seeing in World War II movies. Come on, the mutton chops are a dead giveaway.
He's ironically the most Aryan-looking person on the show.
Yes. Sad news. As you already know, Jesus G has left me for another marketing agency. We worked together for about 6 years. I have never been more heartbroken when another coworker has left. Hey, Jesus, love you, bro. Potted Meat Day won't be the same without you. No worries, I message him all the time. I don't know what potted meat is.
Potted meat? That doesn't sound good.
It does actually.
Like crockpot.
Oh. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Lastly, congrats on the little Aussie. I have 3 younglings myself. Luke being my youngest, named after a combo Luke Skywalker and Luke Duke. Huh.
Who's Luke Duke?
From the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh.
Would you guys do a Star Wars name?
Yes, maybe. But everything I've thrown out, Tim is like, nope.
Yeah, I am hypercritical of boys' names. Girls' names, I can think of like 10 that I would name my kid. Boys' names, I can't think of one.
I suggested Thane because I'm listening to Lost Stars again. And Tim was like, is he a dwarf from Lord of the Rings?
That's kind of a dwarfy name.
Yeah,
and
it absolutely
like,
is. King Thane from Under the Mountain.
Well, yeah.
He's got a long beard, carries an axe.
I can think of worse things to be doing.
Derailed her.
This is from Morgan. He says, hello, or she. I don't know.
Yeah,
Morgan.
it's a she.
It's a she.
I wanted to start out by saying how awesome this podcast is. I absolutely love Star Wars, and when I found this podcast about a year ago, I was stoked. I was wondering if you guys were planning to do a teaser trailer video for The Last Jedi, and Battlefront 2 would be awesome to hear your thoughts. May the Force be with you. Morgan C. Teaser
if they
trailer.
put out another trailer, we will.
Yeah, we usually always talk about the trailers.
Yeah, we kind of broke that one down on the Celebration episode. And then Battlefront 2, it's going to have an actual storyline. So
we'll have to cover it.
Yeah, when it comes out, we will cover it.
I will probably buy that game.
I will buy it, and we will play it, and we will... Is it It's just one player, right?
Don't know.
I wish more games were co-op. Gears of War has got to be my favorite game because it was co-op.
It's good that it's co-op.
It's so good.
I love co-op.
Tony Lonick. What's up, SWNU crew? I love the 2 episodes with the children in them. Joe was hilarious when he asked to say hi. Or when he was asked to say hi. Jen, please do all the synopsises. I like how he put synopsis and then he put an S in brackets next to it.
Those are
parenthesis, whatever. It was very appropriate to us. Sometimes we need a detailed description because we haven't seen it or it's been so long since we've seen the episode.
That's what I told Nolan.
But that's kind of a subtle dig on how long we take to put out an episode.
Exactly.
Especially with comics, I've never read one, so I really depend on you guys to let us know what's going on. But we will. Hashtag Summer of Comics is coming at you.
I think next season for Rebels, I should write down my synopsis
Stop
every
doing that.
time. Stop doing what?
Do it.
You're hit. You were banging the mics.
Gesticulating while you were talking.
Now to my two questions. What do you think Ezra's mentality will be going into season 4? His goal was destroying the Sith, but old Ben basically told him that it's not his fight. Is he going to feel slighted or put all of his effort into the rebellion? He seemed to have gotten more mature, but knowing you can't defeat the Sith has to hurt the ego. His story has to come to an end this season, so it will be interesting.
I don't think he's really been focused on the Sith lately. I think in the last 2 episodes of season 3, he was 100% on board with just...
I think he thought he was something more than he is.
Right.
Because of the interactions with Maul and the holocron thing.
Yeah, and now he's more jumping into the stream. And that may have been intentional from Obi-Wan.
Like, he thought the whole Tatooine, the 2 suns... You remember he saw the 2 suns when they mind melded with the holocrons?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it meant something to him, but in reality, it meant something to Maul.
Right.
Just Ezra had to play a role in it.
Right.
So I think he's realized it's not his fate to be...
It's not all about you.
Right.
Yeah.
But he seems fine. He seems on board.
And
he's
he
not
took
like,
Obi-Wan's words to heart that he's where he's supposed to be.
He's not pouting. He's fine, I think.
Second question may not be so popular. Why would we need an Obi-Wan movie?
We don't.
We've seen him in the prequels go from Padawan to Jedi Master and part of the Jedi Council. We've just seen him finish Maul. What story is there left to tell?
There isn't any.
There-
I'd watch.
Other than
Could
like
make anything.
what he eats.
I'd watch a
That'd be
movie
interesting, that.
about
Create
his
dragons.
beard growing.
Wow. Yikes.
I think it would.
I'm not intimidated by that at all.
People love Obi-Wan. No, it could be about what he's
There's just
what he did
nothing
on
to talk about.
Tatooine.
Unless it's a mid-Clone Wars movie. He goes to Tatooine and does nothing. That's the whole point.
Unless
If he
he
did stuff,
fathered Rey.
people would find him.
Maybe he leaves.
Maybe he fathered
Maybe he goes on a
Rey.
secret mission.
He doesn't. That's stupid.
Maybe he lives. Maybe he teleports like the BenView.
It's a post A New Hope movie where he does something, but it's not help the rebellion.
Oh my gosh, we just cracked it.
What if he has crazy adventures in the Force Ghost world?
That'd
Well,
be
yeah.
cool.
What if it's about him being what
In the
happened to
underworld.
him when he disappeared?
And he has to
into
lead
thin
the
air?
forces of the Jedi in the afterworld
Maybe.
to fight back the old Sith.
Maybe.
Maybe he's riding a wolf somewhere.
We're not going to get an Obi-Wan
Maybe he's the wolf. Ever
Maybe
think of
he's
that?
the wolf.
So, we've seen we already talked about that. And any movie would almost have to be during the prequel era, and it doesn't seem like Disney is ready to touch that area yet. Obi-Wan and Yoda are the only Jedi I like, so I wouldn't be opposed to a movie, but it depends on the circumstances.
We got prequel era in the Kanan comic, and it's in Battlefront 2.
You know what? Maybe Obi-Wan and Yoda team up, buddy cop movie,
No.
and they go on a super secret mission because they have to, or else like something bad happens.
Nope.
I like it.
Okay.
Keep up the great work. Always looking forward to the next podcast. Stay wasp free. We have this whole
So
episode.
far.
No wasps have crawled through my
the
air conditioner.
past 2 episodes, there's been no wasps sighted.
We have
It's not hot out, though. It hasn't been hot the last couple of episodes. Like, they only come inside when it's nicer in here than it is out there.
yes. 2 more letters and then we're done.
So we have to keep it sweltering in
Yes.
here.
No problem. That is easy to do. It is already sweltering. I'm like, my hands are sweating. I'm so hot. Jesse says, so my wife and I are starting a liquid-only diet for 10 days, and I've never had a shaker bottle. Needless to say, these are making me extremely excited to do this. I got the Kylo one.
I
and
would
then
never be excited to do a liquid diet ever.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a liquid diet. Although I kind of need to do a diet that
I
doesn't
think
involve
you've been
eating
on a
ice
liquid
cream.
diet before.
Ooh, I think she's insinuating I drank too much beer for a period of time, and she's right. I probably would have gotten the BB-8 one
Stormtrooper.
just because I like the color orange.
The shiny orange is nice, but I would have done the Stormtrooper.
Which one would you have done, Jen?
I like the BB-8 one as well.
She always
is
gets-
that
That's the
Kylo?
Kylo.
We go now to dinner, like we'll go to eat now, and she always gets the thing I'm going to get.
What are you going to get?
He doesn't tell me.
Until last
I
minute.
intentionally
No.
don't tell her
He-
anymore
Make a
because she
decision.
used to.
No. I never chose what you chose once I knew. I order first and you never told me what you wanted, and then you get mad because I ordered what you were going to order without knowing it, and then he says he needs more time because he has to find something else.
I was gonna order that.
Yes, that's what he does. He refuses to order what he wanted to order because I ordered it. Like,
So
we can't have the
This gets back
same
into
meal.
whether your relationship is weird or normal. This is a weird thing.
He won't order it once
Why
I've
do you
ordered.
care if you order the same
That's
food?
what I
Because
said.
what if-
We can have the same. We can each have a plate with the same things on it. If we were at home, we'd all be
You'd
eating
be
the same
thing anyways.
What if I want to try what she has? I want it to be different. It's just weird when we order. I don't know.
So then he orders something he doesn't really want.
I didn't want this.
Just so we
terrible.
have different food.
You know what? I don't need your judgment. Either one of you.
You don't already know what the other person's going to order when you go places?
No, why would I know what the other person's going to order?
I can tell you everything Megan will order before we go.
Yeah,
Where
chicken
we
fingers
go.
and french fries.
No, she doesn't eat chicken
That's
fingers.
what
I thought
Ashley
she
does.
did.
I
Oh,
think.
That's Ashley.
Ashley Fouts. All right, here we go. This is the last email. It's from Jason Clow. He says, "Hey SWNU crew," and he wrote crew, CR umlaut U.
Yeah. It's not umlaut, though. Umlaut is when it's an O.
Well, what is it when it's a U?
It's some other
a
German word.
umlaut?
I don't know.
We could ask Yana when she comes, our foreign exchange student.
Are you saying her name publicly now?
We always did.
I don't think we did.
Oh,
No, we
Jenny
didn't
did
say
something
where
weird.
she was from. Her name's Yana. We didn't. I don't think we said her last
I think
name.
we said her name was Jaina. That's because we thought
we
that's
didn't,
how it was
we didn't know
pronounced.
how to pronounce it. It's Yana.
Anyway,
She's coming soon. A couple
like
months.
5 weeks.
yeah, it's really close. We need a bed.
We need to hurry up
You
and
need
get
to get
stuff.
that room finished.
Yeah,
That part's for the baby. That room's for the baby.
Oh,
she's sharing Lexi and Nora's room, but we need a bed in there,
gotcha.
and we just need to.
If you're gonna get one, you should get the one that I have. I can't remember what it's called right now.
I think we're gonna get a bunk bed.
A memory foam one.
No, it's. We're just gonna get
Tuft
a
and
twin
needle.
bed.
Anyone who's purchasing beds, you should get a tuft and needle.
Is that the bed or the mattress?
That's just the mattress.
Well, we,
Oh, yeah,
we
we
do
already-
need a
we're-
mattress.
We have a mattress.
I'm not giving her that dirty mattress.
It's not dirty.
Just put a mattress
Every
cover on
time
there.
somebody
Looks
comes
brand
and
new.
stays the night at our house, they sleep on that mattress.
They bring
If we're getting rid of that mattress
scum.
and getting her a new one,
I'm not getting rid of it.
then we're gonna have 2 extra mattresses sitting in the recording studio, pulled out only when we have people come over.
We could.
I am not gonna have 2 mattresses. Loose
Then we at
mattresses
least
in
have
this
to
home.
buy box springs.
Yeah, we absolutely have to buy a box spring.
Not if you get a tuft and needle.
But we actually have a small box spring, like one of the skinny ones. No, absolutely not, she
So
says.
what's tuft and needle? Is it how much is it
Oh,
for a mattress?
For what size?
Twin.
I think they're $350
So why don't you need box spring?
because it's a memory foam mattress.
Oh, well, she can't have a better bed than me.
They're awesome.
So
this is the last email. It's from Jason Clow. He says, "Hey SWNU crew, having listened to last week's pod on the drive back from Florida, I landed at my in-laws to spot an interesting gadget. Inside their French door fridge is a coffee/cocoa maker that supports a Keurig.
I've heard of those.
So I made a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's insulated like mad, but it still has to be terribly inefficient."
What's ironic is they could actually make it more efficient and be using
The heat
that
generated from the
that is pumped through the radiator on the refrigerator.
I wonder if they do that.
They don't. It's almost certainly an electric heater.
So I've heard of those, and that's interesting.
I would not
But
do
what's
that.
not interesting is that nobody has told me how to fix the ice.
Yeah,
Like,
no one
Nobody
emailed
is
in.
helping with our ice problem.
Because we don't have any like Ghostbusters listening to us.
Ghostbusters.
Our
You have-
fridge is possessed.
You have
No, it
problems
has
that
to be a
cannot be
thing.
explained.
It has to be a
Yeah,
thing.
there has to be something.
Somebody has to know
What that garlic powder is.
if that HVAC guy that they keep talking about ever
HVAC guy
comes.
isn't gonna know about that. I mean, dang it.
Oh, good.
Now I have
It's
to
not me
beep
for
it out.
once. Okay. Well,
Proximus does HVAC.
oh yeah.
It has nothing to do with a fridge. What does HVAC have to do with a fridge?
I don't
Heating,
know.
ventilation, air conditioning.
Oh my gosh. Don't encourage her.
I don't know. Somebody has to know something.
Apparently we don't have any appliance people listening to this podcast.
It's not an appliance problem. It's
Yes,
like a
it
chemistry
is.
problem. Because this material is not divining out of the ether. It's coming from somewhere.
Inside the fridge, right.
All right, so none of the materials that your fridge are made
But
out of
someone
are
has
this
to have
material.
run into this before.
I don't know. This
All
is
right.
very strange.
We're going to do a whole episode on fridge talk here coming up, but this is not the one.
Okay, so
I still think you should get samples of it and send it out to a lab to figure out what it is, and that will answer your question.
I don't want to know what it is.
StarWarsNerdsUnite.com.
Wait, no, I'm not done. I didn't even know that Jason Clow listened.
He's very helter-skelter.
He
and
listens when he mows.
I don't
Of
think
recent,
he's ever.
he has started to listen more.
I don't think he's ever emailed in.
He hasn't. He has asked me things at work, and he never. I keep telling him, send an email, send an email, send an email. He finally sent an email.
And
But
it was
he
about
didn't
a
ask
fridge.
anything.
He doesn't need to. He
Well,
made
you
a
said that he
relevant
asked.
comment.
I know, but you said he keeps asking you stuff.
Well, I know, but this specific thing he wanted to say was not a question.
That was my point.
But he always said he wouldn't send letters until he was caught up because he didn't want to wait 5 months to hear the letter.
I see.
He had some dumb reason.
So now he's all caught up.
He's pretty,
Or at
he's
least
got
he
to the
listened to
fridge
the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're done with the podcast. StarWarsNerdsUnite.com. You can
How
buy all
long
your...
is it?
Almost 2 hours.
Holy moly!
Oh yeah.
You can click the Amazon link there so that we get some cashola to pay for our hosting and stuff. We've got a Patreon. Actually, I don't think we ever put the Patreon link on the website.
We need to put the poorly maintained list of patrons as well on the website.
Man.
If you do send in money for Patreon, you get our special Star Wars Nerds Unite stickers that were
If you
created
get the appropriate level.
designed by Jesus.
And then we have a T-shirt level too, which we have
The
not.
T-shirts don't exist.
Right, they will someday.
You
I just
guys-
need to.
Tim needs to get on it.
All right, we know what we're getting regular podcast eps out.
Thanks to me.
That's just how it is.
I just
what else
deleted something.
What else do we need to talk about? BenView Network. They're launching another new podcast on BenView. I can't remember what it is now. Dang it.
Too late.
No, it's not too late. They even have ads put in.
You talked about a new podcast just recently.
I know, but
And this is another new one?
Yes, it's another new one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very impressive. Hold on.
Is it like a meta podcast, like BenView on BenView?
Oh, it's Animusings. It is. Oh no, yeah, it's a review series on Disney's animated theatrical releases. It's by Kayla Berry and David King, the guy that does the very popular podcast Midnight Marinara.
So what would that be? They're like all the Disney cartoons, like Moana?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh.
They have Nothing New, a remake podcast by the guy that does, the founder of the network, Andrew Lindy, and Justin Keyson. He's on BenView on Spielberg, which is my favorite BenView podcast. But their episode, it looks like the episode they are going to do is on the remake of The Mummy. We're going to talk about that.
Great.
The new one with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also...
I heard this one's way better.
I've heard the opposite.
It's
There's
gotten
also
really high
a show
ratings.
that is called Alex P. Keaton is My Friend. Cha-la-la. They break down episode by episode the episodes of
Family
Family
Ties.
Nice.
yeah. So that's BenView Network. There's also Retro Junkies. I always talk about two dudes in a nest because their podcast's the bomb, and dudes that do that show are awesome. Super Pimsky, aka Michael. He's the one that I always talk about iOS updates and stuff with him. We talk technology. We were going to start a comic podcast or a podcast called Tech Dudes Unite because it was a mix of Nerds Unite and his two dudes in a nest. So it was going to be called Tech Dudes Unite, TDU. But we never got it off the ground because I'm just too busy.
It would probably be lame too.
It would be so cool.
I don't know.
Because
I think you have to talk to
you're not a
the
very good
other
tech
members of the
person.
Nerds Unite.
I'm not a very good
family
tech person.
before
No,
you
you're in
branch
an
off.
isolated ecosystem.
Yes, I am.
Right. That would make you not a good tech person. A good tech person would understand everything. Go listen to
I
like
hate you.
Vergecast is really good if you like tech. Because they have Apple people, they have Android people, they
I
have
don't need-
iOS
he's-
people, they have
All right. Well, it would be iOS focused. So there,
exactly. So it wouldn't be
everybody would
Tech
love it.
Nerds Unite. It would be Apple Nerds
Well, we
Unite.
talk about like our our home automation stuff.
Yeah, HomeKit based.
No, I do Nest. I have Nest and I have
understand
Sonos.
that.
I can talk about those things. The difficulties that I have.
It's hipster tech nerds unite.
What? What are you talking about?
Tell me one person who's not a hipster who owns a Sonos.
My CEO at my company owns a whole bunch of Sonos.
Old people who have too much money and hipsters are the people who own Sonos.
Okay.
That's
I'll
his
buy that.
demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have like 5 listeners. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about on this podcast. Email us, letters@starwarsnerdsunite.com if you want to be read on the era. And that's it, right, guys?
That's it.
All right, I'm going to go play soccer. Josh is going to go play softball, and
then
Jenny
Joe
is going to...
T-ball game.
I have to do homework.
Jenny's going to do homework.
That sounds
I have a
enthralling.
midterm exam today.
And then I'm
And
gonna
the
come
kids
home.
are all playing Diablo.
Diablo 3 on Xbox One. I
No,
just
they're
got
not.
one.
I hid the remote.
No, you did not.
I hid the remote before we started so they couldn't change the input.
They'll figure it out.
You're something else. You're something else.
That's it.
Well, you can follow me on... If anybody wants to be friends with me on Xbox, I'm at SuperTim82.
This is worse than WoW.
What is?
It's not. Diablo's not worse than WoW.
Well, I mean,
Diablo eventually gets boring.
Right.
since he started playing, since he got his Xbox, it's been worse than WoW.
No, it has not been worse than WoW. WoW is something I can't...
never-ending-
Yeah, I can't pause that and walk away. WoW, I get home, and once I start it, you can't talk to me for the period that I'm playing it.
For certain activities, yeah.
This, like, I basically can do anything that I could.
So
I
you
can
just
pause it.
choose not to pause it and
Correct.
talk to me.
Right. That's
Well,
a choice.
I do talk to you.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, you're such a weirdo. All right, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the BenView Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at benviewnetwork.com.